The nation stood still when breaking news flashed across every major network. Senator John Kennedy had filed an $80 million lawsuit against Congressman Adam Schiff. The announcement hit Washington like a thunderclap, a whine that echoed far beyond politics, shaking the very foundation of public trust and political decency. What followed was not just a legal drama, but an emotional roller coaster that revealed deep wounds, unexpected courage, and a shocking live TV moment that left millions speechless. It all began on a chilly Monday morning when Kennedy, known for his sharp wit and folksy wisdom, strode up to the courthouse steps in Louisiana. His expression was calm but resolute, a man clearly carrying the weight of a principle larger than himself. Surrounded by cameras and flashing lights, Kennedy declared that this lawsuit was not about money, but about integrity. He accused Schiff of spreading false and damaging statements that had tarnished reputations, divided Americans, and mocked the very truth our democracy depends on. His words struck a chord across the nation. Some saw him as a defender of truth, others accused him of political theater. But no one could deny the courage it took to go head-to-head with one of Washington's most polarizing figures. Within hours, the internet exploded. Hashtags like #Kennedy vs. Schiff and #Truth on Trial trended worldwide. News outlets scrambled for reactions. Pundits debated motives. Social media divided itself into fierce camps. But amid the noise, one question loomed large: how would Adam Schiff respond? Days later, the answer came, and it stunned everyone. Schiff appeared live on national television, seated under the harsh studio lights of a primetime interview. The host expected a fiery counterattack, perhaps a volley of legal threats or political insults. Instead, Schiff took a deep breath, looked straight into the camera, and said something no one anticipated. Senator Kennedy and I disagree deeply about policy, about truth, and about America's direction. But if this lawsuit brings us to a place where we can actually talk, not yell, then maybe something good can come from it. The studio fell silent. Even the host, known for his combative style, paused in disbelief. Schiff continued, his voice uncharacteristically soft. We've both said things in the heat of politics that maybe went too far. I'm not afraid of court, but I'm also not afraid to admit that this country needs less fighting and more listening. Within minutes, clips of Schiff's response went viral. People replayed his words, debated his sincerity, and tried to read between every pause. Some called it the strategic move, a calm before a legal storm. Others saw it as the first honest display of humility in years of political warfare. And as the nation debated, Kennedy himself watched from his home in Baton Rouge. The next morning, Kennedy gave his own response, not in a courtroom or a press conference, but during a local radio interview. His tone was measured, almost reflective. I didn't sue Adam because I hate him, he said. I sued him because I believe we can't just say anything about anyone and expect to walk away without accountability. But I'll tell you this, I respect what he said last night. Maybe, just maybe, this is a start. From that moment, the narrative shifted. What began as a fiery legal confrontation evolved into something deeper, a national conversation about honesty, respect, and the cost of truth in a divided country. Legal experts dissected every move, but everyday Americans found themselves drawn to the human side of the story. Two men, standing on opposite sides of the aisle, had unexpectedly reminded the nation that even in disagreement, there can still be dignity. Weeks later, as the lawsuit proceeded quietly in the background, both the men crossed paths again, this time, not in court, but in a bipartisan charity event supporting veterans. Cameras captured the brief, unexpected moment when Kennedy extended his hand. Schiff hesitated for just a second, then smiled and shook it. The crowd erupted in applause. It wasn't the end of the battle, but it was the beginning of something far more powerful, a reminder that civility still had a pulse in American politics. As the story continues to unfold, one thing is clear: the Kennedy-Schiff confrontation has become more than just a legal feud. It's a reflection of a nation wrestling with its conscience, struggling to find truth amid noise, and yearning for leaders who can fight for their beliefs without losing their humanity. By the end of the 15-minute segment, viewers are left with one lingering thought: a truth that transcends party lines and political labels. In the pursuit of justice, it's not the courtroom victories that matter most, but the courage to stand for what's right, even when the whole world is watching. And as one commentator poignantly said that night, maybe the real verdict here isn't about who wins $80 million, it's about who wins back America's faith and decency.